and welcome back to another episode of the Choose954 podcast, episode 91, with Arc Broward CEO Julie Price, here from their beautiful campus in front of the living wall in honor of her. If you didn't know about Choose954, myself, Evan Snow, and my business partner, Mr. Andrew Martineau, as arts advocates, community builders, and placemakers, started a social movement to cultivate culture and community here in my native home county of Broward, in an effort to make this a better place to live and not just a better place to vacation because we live here, to keep people to know with all the great things that are going on with the arts, culture, and community space. The point of the podcast is to connect you, the viewer, with important people like her that do amazing things in the community, and we appreciate everything you do, and they're about to find out. So without much further ado, why don't you just give us a little bit of a high-level overview of yourself, your role, and kind of what you do here.
Sure. So I'm Julie Price. I'm the president CEO with Arc Broward. I've been with the organization 38 years, so spent quite a bit of time learning all the ins and outs of the organization in terms of all of the programs that we operate, the business that we operate in Arc Culinary and Arc Educates, and just being part of an incredible community.
Amen. And for those that are not familiar with Arc, could you give us the overview of the program and what you guys do here?
Absolutely. Arc Broward started in 1957. It was a movement by parents who were looking for services and supports for their children with disabilities. This was the time before free and appropriate education, and school systems weren't necessarily supporting kids in those locations, and adults, by and large, were being institutionalized. So parents really took the opportunity to band together locally, statewide, and around the nation, and create programs and organizations, a lot of them under the auspices of the ARCs, as we are all known. And today, what started as a real small grassroots organization has now grown into a very robust, diverse organization supporting 1,200 children, adults, and their families in 21 different programs that are scattered throughout our community. And that includes educational programs, residential, workforce development type programs, therapeutic, and just a whole host of wraparound supports. Really anything someone needs if they have a developmental disability, they probably can find at Arc Broward.
And who are the target population of the residents, the community members that you serve?
Sure. So the target population are primarily individuals with developmental or intellectual disabilities, or those who are neurodivergent. So those would be individuals who have autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, some type of generalized developmental delay. And then individuals often come to us without any of those diagnoses, but just have some life challenges, and they want to come and participate in our culinary program. And so we're able to support them as well. So it's a really diverse group of folks that we are interested in supporting, and of course, always their families.
Amen.
Yeah.
And did it initially start here in Broward County?
It did. Arc Broward, we've always been here. Our very first, had we been had a lot of foresight, our very first location was in a small storefront in the late 1950s, early 60s on Los Olas Boulevard. From there, we moved. It wasn't quite the boulevard that it is today.
Sure.
But we moved to some other locations in Fort Lauderdale, in Hollandale, where our preschool operated, and residential programs that are scattered around. But in the late 1980s, we bought this land out in Sunrise, and we built this facility for our purposes. And we've been here since 1991, and we love being here every day.
Amen.
So, yeah.
And so you've been with the organization for a few years now.
Yeah.
How has that journey kind of progressed from when you initially started to having a living wall in your honor behind you here?
Yeah. So my very first opportunity to join Arc Broward was when I was in college, and I had some friends who worked in one of our residential programs. It's our largest residential program in Davie. It's a 36-bed facility called Bark Housing. And because I was going to school right there, and it was just convenient, and so my friend said, just come over and work here on the weekends and evenings, and I think you'll love it. I had no experience working with people with disabilities. I didn't know anyone with a disability, and I wasn't so far out of high school. But I went over to Bark, spent a little bit of time there, got to know and love the residents and everything that we do there, and fell in love with the place, and you really have since never left. And I've been really fortunate because the organization is large. We have opportunities for for our team members to move around. So I spent time working in our children's programs, our preschool, in our adult programs, supporting individuals who were getting jobs and starting careers, and just sort of found my way around. Maybe I was a busybody, I don't know, just moved my way throughout the organization, and just loved every opportunity that I had, eventually moving into some management and leadership roles, starting new programs, responding to community needs, and then eventually last year moved into the CEO role.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
It's very admirable, and it's not always so common to see people stick with organizations for a long period of time, especially organizations where it might. I've been in the nonprofit space, and people that have been in nonprofit space, it's not always the easiest fundraising and changes in the marketplace. But you guys certainly have a very noteworthy and important mission.
Sure.
What is your why behind, you've been here for a long time, supporting this community, supporting this organization, and doing the work that you guys are doing?
Yeah, so my why really boils down to something pretty simple. I have been blessed to be able to work with individuals, children and adults with disabilities and their families, a group of individuals who otherwise are really vulnerable, families who are looking and needing supports and services, and just sometimes just need a helpful hand, and it's going to be okay. And I really just found that my heart has always been the most filled when I'm supporting individuals with disabilities, and I'm seeing them succeed, thrive in our community. This community it's a blessed community in a lot of ways. We have lots of opportunities to offer. Broward is a tight-knit community, and nonprofits, as you mentioned, having that experience. And so I think that anything that we can do to be able to support individuals who need that assistance and who are the most vulnerable is worthy of all of our love and attention.
100%. I happen to have a dear friend who's an autism educator who I plan to bring to the culinary experience. And I definitely gained a new appreciation for the work that she does, that you guys do. It is, the Lord's work. It is very important. You mentioned some opportunities, and just mentioned the dinner. So what are some things that are coming up if people wanted to get involved, see it for themselves, and experience and leave with a memorable night?
Yeah. Well, we have two of our most important activities coming up very soon. The Miss Arc Broward pageant is Sunday, May 19th. That is going to be at the Parker. That is a pageant for young girls ages 7 through 16 to be able to showcase their talents, their abilities, talk about their platform. So it is a pageant, but more of an empowerment pageant. So it's an opportunity for the community to embrace these young women as they are, on their path to eventual adulthood, and learning about all the incredible things that young girls with disabilities can do. So that's our very first, most important event that's coming up soon.
Okay.
And then Arc Culinary, which is our social enterprise. And we have a catering business within Arc Culinary. One of the things we do is we host high-end sort of elevated dining experiences, and we have a number of those coming up in May. So we have a tacos and tequila night, we have a Memphis barbecue, and then we have another fancier dinner at the end of the month called Gastronomic Adventure. And so we love for folks to come out. Those are more intimate dining experiences in this space. This is the Emeril Lagasse Foundation Innovation Kitchen, and so we can host these really incredible dinners for up to 39 folks in our community who want to come and have a unique dining experience. And that's what we're all about. You could sit at our chef's table, you could sit at some of our communal tables. Sitting at the chef's table is fantastic because you're right there with the chefs. You're learning about all that they're doing. How did they come up with their menu, recipe? They'll give you plating advice and so forth. And then the communal tables are really fantastic because you walk away with friends all the time. You never know exactly who you're going to be sitting next to and who you're going to meet. And there's so many people who come to these dinners and leave friends. And that's really what it's all about. It's about great food for a great cause with a great community.
Amen. May 3rd is the first one, the Tacos and Tequila. May 17th, Memphis Style Barbecue Bash, which I'll be attending.
All right.
And May 30th, the Gastronomic Adventure. If they'd like to find out more information and where to purchase tickets or donate or support, where could they find?
Sure. Anybody can visit us on our website at www.arcbroward.com. There's all sorts of information on our website about the Miss Arc Broward pageant, about our Arc Culinary dinners. And tickets can be purchased through a link from that particular site. You can give us a call at 954-746-9400. And you can ask to speak with myself or anybody on our fundraising and development team. And we're more than willing to spend some time talking about our events. And if anybody really wants a treasured experience, we welcome anybody to come out to our campus and tour it. This is a 9-acre campus, 85,000 square feet, 3 very large buildings. You need to put your tennis shoes on because there's a lot to walk around and see and do. And there's nothing better than having the opportunity to meet the folks that we are blessed to support every day.
It looks like you've got some great supporters. I mean, I see Moss Construction's name, Emeril Lagasse Foundation. You've definitely changed a lot of lives, a lot of families, and a very important portion of our community.
Sure.
What are some of your favorite noteworthy success stories that you generally like to share and highlight for those that might not be familiar with the impact?
Yeah, I think what's really important is that we talk about what individuals with disabilities can achieve when they have the right supports, particularly when they start very young in our early intervention programs. So our in-home programs for birth to 7-year-olds, and then our preschool program for 3 to 5-year-olds. Setting folks out on a path very early helps set them up for big successes when they're older. And we've had some really incredible successes. We had just a number of years ago, we had someone who participated in one of our after-school programs. It was an employment training readiness after-school program, and he graduated from the program, moved to Orlando, and enrolled in University of Central Florida. So that's fantastic. For anybody who's a Knights fan out there, that's great. We, in our culinary program, we employ some of the graduates from our 16-week entry-level culinary arts program. We've got a young man now, Patrick, who is currently working in the kitchen, who is actually our student of the student of the year chef last year. And he's a rock star. He's really great. But beyond that, we celebrate lots of experiences here every day that may not be that big, right? So kids who are learning to walk in our preschool, learning to say their first words with our speech therapist in the classroom, earning their first kids in our after-school program. They have a summer internship. These are 40 young adults who are getting ready to eventually leave the school system and move into adulthood, and they'll be earning their first paychecks, many of them.
Amazing.
So those types of experiences, we take them for granted every day. We go get a job, and when we're young, and we get a paycheck and we move on in our lives. It's a big deal for these kids. It's a big deal for these families who were told, my son or daughter may never walk or talk, and to see that happen, and they walk across the stage at graduation, and the tears are flowing from everybody in there, and they're just it's inspirational, it's moving, and it's life-changing. It's a place that's filled with love and opportunities and hope.
It really is. And I mean, the wins don't have to be, and not every win is going to be in the newspaper. Not every win is going to get a Netflix documentary about it. But you guys have changed so many lives. I didn't share this part with you, but my early stages of transitioning to community builder and social entrepreneurship, placemaking, was as a food blogger. And one of the first events that I ever attended and was invited to was Delish, your former culinary showcase at the Gallery of Amazing Things back in 2015. And I vividly remember that. A very fond memory.
Yeah, you probably met all the students working side by side with guest chefs. And really learning some great skills there too. So
oh my God,
those are really fun. Those are always fun events.
It's not only fun, but like when you can actually see the impact in front of you, and you're literally watching somebody's life change from an enriching experience. It's a beautiful thing. I'm also a fan of this living wall behind us, and something that we encourage more developers and businesses to incorporate. Can you tell us the story of how this came about?
Sure, yeah. This one, Living Walls, is really special to me personally, and of course to the organization. So a number of years ago, in 2013, I was awarded the Jim Moran Foundation Award.
Wow.
And they select one person a year, one community, I'll say member a year. It doesn't have to be a community leader, but it's just someone who the foundation has spent time with and worked with, and feels like that they've made an impact, and had worked with the Jim Moran Foundation for a number of years, and the team at the foundation, and especially Melanie Burgess, who is just a dream. And got a call one day here from Melanie saying, Mrs. Moran, Jan Moran, and the foundation itself would like to honor you with the Jim Moran Foundation Award We hope you accept that. And of course, it was a thrill and an honor beyond what I could imagine. So along with the opportunity to just be recognized in that way with some of our community's biggest leaders, I mean, the Moran family has done a lot in our community for a long, long time. A $50,000, award to the organization of my choice came along with that. So that was pretty much a no-brainer. And so that $50,000 went to Arc Broward, and it was the first $50,000 that kicked off the campaign for this incredible space here. So it was, with that first $50,000, we were able to hire our first architect and our first engineers and get the ball rolling for the opportunity to build this space out like we did in the years following that. So it's a thrill to be able to have received that award, to have gotten that money, used it as seed money to do what we wanted to do here and to create the vision that we have here today.
Amazing.
So, and it's super pretty.
It's
right?
beautiful.
Yeah.
See some of my mom's favorite florals here.
Yeah.
And one of the other underlying components that you guys are supporting, you mentioned culinary arts.
Yeah.
It is an art.
Yes.
Culinary, and some people gravitate towards painting, some people gravitate towards performance art, some people are passionate about food and they deserve a space and an opportunity, neurodivergent or not.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful thing that you can support that. And the other portion, I have diabetes, so I'm very aware of my health and what I'm putting into my body, and recently made a push to kind of go more organic and even cut the carbs down even further. And just the fact that you're raising awareness about the culinary arts, having a living wall, having more green space, having more thought about what we're putting in our body, how we're eating instead of the alternative, as we know in this country, society, people eating out, fast food. So I commend you guys tremendously in that regard, just for providing the opportunities, raising awareness, providing a good quality product, providing a good quality impact, providing memorable experiences, changing lives. Anything else that comes to mind that you feel is noteworthy, worth mentioning?
I want to piggyback onto that because a lot of people don't consider the culinary arts an art form, right? But if you come to one of our dinners and you see some of the activity that our chefs are doing on a day-to-day basis and what they're imparting on the students, we have 2 chef instructors, and the instruction that they provide to them, and they end up celebrating their end of the time in the program with a student chef luncheon. And you look at, first of all, you taste these entrees and these appetizers and these desserts, which are just ridiculous. I hate to say that because you're diabetic, but I'm a diabetic too.
Okay.
So I can appreciate that. And when I see these desserts, my glucose level shoots right out. But it's magic. It's pure magic, and it's stunningly beautiful. I mean, you look at the plates of even some of the entrees, some of the more simpler stuff that we've done. One of the dinners we had recently was a comfort food dinner, and it was Not Your Mama's Meatloaf was one of the courses. And so I'm thinking, oh, it's going to look like my meatloaf. But this, honestly, it looked like something you should take a picture of and put on your wall. And we had a 7-course dessert dinner recently too. That was pretty intense. And every one of those courses that Chef Christian created was a magnificent piece of art. There was an oyster that was made out of white chocolate. Honestly, you thought you were looking at an oyster shell. It was so stunning. So culinary arts is a magnificent opportunity for folks to have a creative outlet, to be able to do things that they love and love the things that they do. And so we appreciate the opportunity to be able to showcase it to the community.
And I mean, not only showcase the space, showcase the opportunity, even just, I'm thinking now, inspiring different organizations, different members of the community, philanthropists, people in the nonprofit space. You're considering maybe doing another event, a fundraiser. Here's a great organization to potentially partner with, support, collaborate with, give people opportunity, job placement, whatever the case may be. I sincerely encourage anybody, if this struck a chord with you in any regard, reach out. I know you guys are very inclusive, very open-minded, very welcoming and accommodating. The space is very beautiful. So I just cannot give you enough credit and kudos in that regard. You guys are doing very important work at a very high level, very noteworthy and deserving. So I'm, glad to be able to provide my support to get the word out, to hopefully get you some more attendees, supporters, donors, community members, press, eyeballs. Every little bit matters. So we definitely appreciate that. And just one more time, the website if they want to, connect with you guys.
Absolutely. Our website is www.arcbroward.com. And I'll just throw our phone number in again, 954-746-9400. We are, always interested in folks reaching out to us and learning more about what we do and coming to visit us. Most importantly, we love to have folks just come in here and seeing the great work.
And we're here at 10250 Northwest 53rd Street in Sunrise, Florida. Beautiful campus. Kudos to you guys for, although you might have missed on the location in Las Olas back in the day, who would have known? This is a beautiful space. If you want to find out about more cool events like this, we certainly encourage you to follow Choose954, social media, the Instagrams, our bi-weekly newsletter. It's not spammy. We've got great events coming up. There's something, actually one of your events is aligned with the scheduling. We participate annually in something called 10 Days of Connection that Radical Partners out of Miami host, that Rebecca Fishman-Levy, the CEO of the Miami Foundation, started, that now is run by a friend of mine, Joan Godoy, that really works to bring people together over different passions and cross-sections. So we actually host a potluck for artists.
Great.
Free community event, bring a dish for 5 or 6 people. That'll be on May the 5th at our Zero Empty Spaces Gulfstream Park location in Hollandale Beach.
That sounds fantastic.
It is a great thing. Cool. We've been doing it quarterly for about 5-6 years now. This will be our 19th one, even throughout COVID. Because, not everybody has somebody to share a meal with, and then make connections amongst your peers and contemporaries and colleagues in the creative space. We also host, not too far from here, a monthly breakfast lecture series mini TED Talk called Creative Zen that I've been doing now about to celebrate 6 years, where we bring in local people from the community to share their thought-provoking and inspiring story, kind of show how we're a lot more relatable than we are different.
Sure, yeah.
And that event will also be during 10 Days of Connection on May the 10th, every second Friday morning of the month. We host that at the Cotilla Gallery inside the Alvin Sherman Library on the campus of NSU.
Nice.
My business partner is president of the Circle of Friends board. So many ways to get involved with the community. Still host free tours of the Art Walk in Hollywood every third Saturday. We have a goal setting accountability mini mastermind group called Accent Club, where we bring people together to support their goals. So if any of this resonated with you, feel free to reach out. We're all open books. I'm Evan Snow at Choose954. Find us online. Find us at the dinner on May 17th. And the last question we like to end with: why do you choose the 954?
Well, I think there's no better place than to be able to find out what's happening in our community, to feel a connection, and just to thrive and do great things as a large group of people together.
Amen. So. And you've been here for a while. You've seen it change and evolve, and you're making an impact. You're doing great things. Really appreciate your time. Really appreciate the work that you're doing. So we hope to see you at least on May the 17th when I'll be here. If not, for any of the other dinners, other opportunities. We appreciate you tuning in. We'd love to hear why you choose the 954, and we'll see you at the next one. Cheers.